In this lesson, we'll be taking a look at some of the marquee selection tools that Photoshop offers. Let's find some images to work with, just to learn. So I've searched puppies here in Google Images. And I'm just going to find a particularly cute little fella that we can manipulate in some way. Okay. Say this guy. Just going to copy it. Right click, copy image. Control N to create a new document. By default it'll have the dimensions of the image we've copied. Hit enter. Control V to paste. So let's look at adding an additional object to this image. I'm going to search this time for a beach ball. Just going to find one that I think will fit. I'm using Alt Tab to switch between the two windows. So I can cite a match. Say this. Now I'm going to copy this image. Control N to create a new document again and paste. First thing we need to do if we want to take that beach ball and put it into this image is remove the white background. Now this is an ideal image to demonstrate the use of the magic wand tool. So if we select our magic wand tool, just under the polygonal selection tool, you'll see that we have all of these options above, like sample size, tolerance, anti-alias, contiguous, etc. For a selection as simple as this, I don't think we're going to need to worry about any of that. Delete the background layer as well. You can see that we have a solid white background layer. So when I deleted the contents of that front layer, you couldn't see it happen. I'm going to go back and do it again. So delete the background layer just so everyone sees what's happening. There's no background layer anymore. I've selected with the magic wand tool this white area. Because it's all solid white, the magic wand tool had no problem selecting it. If I went to something a little more obscure, say I want to select this blue area, well, you can see there are different shades of blue here and white streaks and everything else. So if I come in here, it's not going to get it the way that I want it to automatically, because it's, this is a computer and it's working according to an algorithm, and algorithms are not perfect. So we can increase tolerance, set that to 30, and it'll enlarge in the areas that we select. Set it to 60, see what that does. Getting closer. So that's the point of tolerance. Tolerance determines how close a pixel value has to be included in to be included in the selection. Okay. Maybe 16. So let's select the background and hit the delete key. That checker pattern in Photoshop means transparency. That's what that represents. Now I can click and drag this tab to float my window. Go to the move or select tool, whatever you want to call it, and click and drag that ball into this world. Of course, the ball is far too big. I'm going to delete that source image because I no longer need it. I'm going to click no because I don't need to save it. How do we scale this ball down? Well, we're going to use the transform tool. Hold the control key on your keyboard, and while it's held, press the T key, and that's going to bring you into transform. That's one hotkey. Here's another one. Hold Alt and middle mouse scroll out so you can see what you're doing. So Alt middle mouse scroll will zoom you in and out. You can also use the zoom tool here if for some reason maybe you don't have a middle mouse wheel. So zoom out, zoom in, etc. Another way of doing that is to come up to the navigator here and just slide in and out like this. I tend to use the navigator quite a bit and the alt scroll. I never use this, so if you want to, you can. But I find that the hotkey and the navigator are more intuitive ways of doing it. Now I'm going to click the top left corner and hold Alt and Shift. And that's going to keep the scale proportional. Clicking outside will rotate like that, clicking and dragging. I'm going to zoom in holding Alt and scrolling the middle mouse wheel again. This little anchor point determines the center of rotation. So if I put it over here, say, that point, and then I click outside and drag, it's going to rotate around that point. So that's a handy tip. Okay, so the idea here is that he's chasing the ball. That's what we're trying to imply with our image. Again, when you're scaling, hold Shift to keep it proportional. And I'm going to hit Enter. And that demonstrates the use of the Magic Wand tool and copying and pasting and merging two images in one way or another. Demonstrates quite a bit. Okay, in the next lesson we'll look at some of the other selection tools like rectangular marquee, etc. I do classify the Magic Wand tool as a marquee tool, and because you're marking out an area to move, the same way you do with these tools. It just uses a different algorithmic method.